All right, let's be real for a second. How much of your day is spent just digging? You're digging through old documentation, scrolling through a million GitHub issues, just trying to get a straight answer about your own project. Well, today we're going to look at a tool that changes all that. It runs right on your machine and acts like your own personal AI co-pilot to make that whole development workflow just smoother. So what if you could just take all that stuff, your project specs, those dense MLOps guides, all the compliance docs, and just talk to them? I mean, ask them questions in plain English. And what if you could then tell them, hey, based on that answer, go run my GitHub action pipeline for me? That's exactly the kind of power we're going to unpack today. Okay, so the tool that pulls all this off is called the GitHub Process Manager. And really, it's a lightweight assistant that you run locally, right in your browser. Its whole job is to connect three things that are usually separate: your static docs, your live code repository on GitHub, and a really smart AI. It brings them all together into one clean workflow. So let's break down what makes this thing tick. The real magic is how all these pieces fit together. You get AI-powered answers from your own documents, right? Your PDFs, your Word docs, all thanks to RAG and Gemini. But, and this is the cool part, it doesn't stop there. It hooks directly into your GitHub repo for a live, up-to-the-minute context. This means you can actually trigger your GitHub actions or even generate professionally branded reports, all from this one secure UI that's running just for you on your machine. All right, so how does this actually work? Let's pop the hood for a sec. The easiest way to think about the AI core is like a super efficient research team. You've got three key players: a really smart librarian, a lightning-fast research assistant, and a brilliant expert author. Let's meet them one by one. Okay, first up is ChromaDB. This is our smart librarian. Now, when you upload a document, a PDF, a text file, whatever, ChromaDB doesn't just store the words. It does something much cleverer. It breaks the text into manageable chunks, and for each chunk, it creates what you can think of as a meaning fingerprint. The technical term is a vector embedding, which is basically a numerical representation of the concept in that text. So the library isn't organized by keywords, it's organized by ideas. This is why it can find what you're looking for so fast and so accurately. Next on the team is RAG, and this is our research assistant. Its job is pretty simple, but super important. When you ask a question, RAG sprints over to that ChromaDB library, and its one mission is to find the most relevant chunks of text. It looks at those meaning fingerprints we just talked about and grabs the passages that are the best match for your question. It's all about finding the perfect context. And finally, we have our expert author, Gemini. So RAG has done its job, it's gathered up all the best research. Gemini's role is to take all those relevant passages and actually write the answer. And this is key. It doesn't just copy and paste. It synthesizes all that information into a brand new, coherent, and really intelligent response that's tailored specifically to what you asked. It's the difference between just finding info and actually creating knowledge. Now, here's a pro tip. You can actually tune how this research assistant works. In the config file, you'll see two really important settings. First is chunk size. Think of this as how big of a byte of text the system takes at once. If you're looking for very specific facts, you might want a smaller chunk size. If you need to understand a broader concept, a larger size is probably better. Then you have chunk overlap. This is super important. It makes sure that when a document is split into chunks, there's a little bit of text repeated between them. Why? It helps the AI keep the context, so it doesn't lose the plot if an idea starts in one chunk and ends in the next. It's a small tweak that makes a huge difference in answer quality. Okay, this is where things get really, really powerful. Because the tool isn't just looking at the static documents you uploaded. It's also pulling in live, real-time data directly from your GitHub repository. It's combining the what we planned with the what's actually happening. So let's imagine a totally real-world scenario. You ask the system something like this: what were the key discussions in recent PRs about the new login feature? You see, you're not just asking what the spec sheet says. You want to know the why, the conversations, the debates, the trade-offs that happened in the pull requests. And watch what happens behind the scenes. The system immediately gets to work. First, the RAG part dives into ChromaDB and pulls out the relevant sections from, say, your main off-spec docs file. But at the exact same time, it's querying the GitHub API. It's looking for any pull requests or issues that have to do with login. So you're getting the official plan from the docs, and you're getting the ground truth from the code and conversations. And this is the payoff. Gemini takes all of that context, the formal spec sheet, the discussion from pull request 12, the bug report from issue 8, and weaves it all together into a single comprehensive answer. See, you're not just getting the what from the documentation, you're getting the why from the actual dev discussions. That kind of combined insight is honestly a game changer. Okay, answering questions is awesome. But what about actually doing stuff? Let's switch gears and look at a super practical use case, especially for anyone in MLOps. We've all been there, right? The tedious task of generating model validation reports. Well, let's automate that. Right from the UI, you can see and trigger your repository's GitHub actions. So we're just going to pick our model validation report workflow. No more tabbing over to GitHub, navigating to the Actions tab, finding the right workflow. None of that. We're triggering it right from here. So the second you click that workflow, the UI is smart enough to read your workflow's YAML file, and it automatically generates this input form for you. It's pretty slick. So right here, we can just plug in the details, the model name, the version, the kind of validation we're doing, and of course, the actual performance metrics we just got from our tests. So for our metrics, we should just paste in a simple JSON object like this, accuracy at 95%, F1 score, and so on. We fill that out, we hit the trigger button, and that's it. That data gets sent straight to the GitHub action, the workflow runs, it populates a Word document template with these metrics, and saves it as an artifact. You've literally just turned a painful manual reporting task into a one-click operation. That is how you keep your docs consistent and up to date. Okay, so let's talk about making this tool yours. This is where you can really dial it in for your team's specific needs. You've got a ton of flexibility here, both in how the AI assistant behaves and in how the final documents actually look. So when it comes to the AI's personality, you've got options. Out of the box, you get these handy predefined system prompts. You can tell it to be a technical expert or a security auditor with one click. They're great starting points. But if you ask me, the real power is in using a custom instruction set. Here, you can define your own expert persona from scratch. Give it a specific role, a tone of voice, a set of rules to follow. You can basically build the exact AI expert your team needs. And it's not just about how the AI talks, it's also about how your documents look. Branding is super easy. You just pop open the .env file, your main configuration file, and you set the project_name variable. Whatever you put here will automatically show up in the headers of every single Word document the system generates. It's a simple way to keep everything looking professional and consistent. And you can take that branding one step further. Right below the project name, you can set a brand color. You just drop in the hex code for your main brand color, and boom, the document templates will automatically use it for titles and other accents. It's such a small thing, but it makes a huge difference. You get these polished, perfectly branded reports with basically zero extra work. So when you step back and look at it, this is so much more than just a chatbot, right? It's really a complete workflow assistant. It starts with simple questions, but it grows into this central hub where you can understand your project, document it, and even automate your most important workflows. So I'll leave you with a question to think about. In your own day-to-day work, what's that one tedious piece of documentation or that one annoying manual workflow that you would just love to automate away? Something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in for this explainer.